evening. Being 5:30, I'd like to call this public hearing to order. And if we could start by a pledge of allegiance. Councilor Todd, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Bouchard.
Here.
Mayor Boulay.
Absent. He will be here probably.
Delayed.
He's delayed.
Yeah. Councilor Champlin.
Present.
Councilor Fennessy.
Delayed.
Councilor Grady Sexton.
Present.
Councilor Keach.
Here.
Councilor Kennison. Here. Councilor Kretovic.
Here.
Councilor Mattson.
Here.
Councilor McNamara.
Here.
Councilor Nyan.
Present.
Councilor Pierce.
Excused.
Councilor Rice Hawkins.
Here.
Councilor Todd.
Here.
And Councilor Warner.
Excused. Thank you. So tonight we are having a public hearing, and I have a whole sheet. I have 2 pages to read, so please be patient. So good evening. My name is Candace Bouchard, and I am the Mayor Pro Tem of Concord, and I'm also the Ward 9 City Councilor. I will be conducting this evening's hearing until Mayor Jim Boulay arrives. On behalf of the City Council, which is hearing to address Atlantic Broadband's expressed interest in constructing and operating a cable television system in the city of Concord. As you may know, Concord has a franchise agreement with Comcast to operate an existing cable television system, cable, in the city. Tonight's public hearing was required by New Hampshire law, which is RSA 53C3A, and under that statute, there are 8 items we must consider before granting a franchise to Atlantic Broadband to provide cable service. Those items are: 1, whether Atlantic Broadband has the financial ability to perform. 2, whether Atlantic Broadband has the ability to provide adequate and technically sound facilities, equipment, and signal quality. 3, whether Atlantic Broadband has adequate channel capacity and appropriate facilities for public, educational, or government use, taking into account available technology, subscriber interest, and cost. 4, the prohibition Thank you. Of discrimination among customers of basic service. 5, reasonable service quality in terms of availability, technology, and subscriber interest and cost. I think I read that. 6, whether the proposed construction and installation would conform to all applicable state and federal laws and regulations in the National Electric Safety Code. 7, whether Atlantic Broadband will have competent staff able to provide prompt, adequate service and to respond comprehensively to customer complaints of problems. Finally, 8, whether Atlantic Broadband will have reasonable rules and policies for line extensions and disconnects, customer deposits, and billing practices. For purposes of tonight's hearing, please note that there are 3 subjects over which the city has no authority to regulate. 1, the rates that Atlantic Broadband would charge for its services. 2, the commercial programming that Atlantic Broadband chooses to show on its cable systems. And 3, the internet service which Atlantic Broadband may provide. So those are the 3 subjects that the city has no authority to regulate. Also, please note that the public hearing will remain open for submission of additional written testimony for 14 days following tonight's hearing. Therefore, this hearing will officially close on October 4th, 2021. At the October 11th, 2021 City Council meeting, the City Council will make a preliminary determination as to the viability of Atlantic Broadband to install, construct, operate, and maintain a cable television system in Concord, and if appropriate, authorize the city manager to enter into negotiations with Atlantic Broadband to determine whether the parties can agree upon the terms and conditions of a television cable franchise agreement, subject to the City Council's approval. With those introductory comments, I will open the hearing now for Atlantic Broadband's presentation and any questions from members of the City Council. After, I will open the public hearing for testimony from the public. So, thank you all very much. City Manager.
I just make one comment. Because of the holiday that is coming up in October, we will be having the meeting, City Council meeting on October 12th. So just so folks know. So City Council will meet the 12th, which is a Tuesday.
My apologies. October 12th. Thank you. So, do you have any comments, or I don't have the gentleman's name from Atlantic Broadband.
I think he may have a partner with him. So.
Okay, please come forward.
Question, Madam
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? At what time on October 4th what's the cutoff time for public comment?
11:59 p.m.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Nadine Heinen. I am the Regional Operations Director for Atlantic Broadband, and I'm happy to be here. To my left is Glenn Patch. He's the Construction Manager and specifically the market expansion in this area. Very knowledgeable. So I'll go through this, not really quick, but some parts of it I will go through a little rapidly. About us, Cogeco Communications. We are owned by our parent company, Cogeco Communications. We have $2.5 billion in annual revenue using the fiscal 2020 numbers. We have 4,300 employees in North America. We have 2,763,466 Canadian American broadband services and 23 radio stations, which is part of Cogeco Media. We operate in Canada under the Cogeco Connection name, in Quebec and Ontario, and in the United States under Atlantic Broadband name. The corporation provides residential and business customers with internet, video, and phone services through its two-way broadband fiber networks. Atlantic Broadband is the #8 provider in the United States and the #2 provider under the CCX name in Ontario and Quebec. Not mentioned here, but I will bring it up because we did not have it available for this. We have acquired WOW in Wide Open West Networks in Ohio, the Cleveland and Columbus area. That was a recent acquisition where we gained another 140,000 customers. You probably already know that because it is public knowledge. We closed on September 10th or something like that. So we have 1.6 million homes passed, homes and businesses, residential 700,000 in 700,000 customers in 12 states. Again, that number has increased recently by 140,000. We offer 1.27 million primary service units in the U.S., and we employ 1,400 employees in the U.S. We serve over 700,000 residential and business customers in 12 states with advanced internet, video, and voice services, including enterprise-level fiber services and what we call hosted voice services. Over 94% of the Atlantic Broadband footprint has access to internet speeds up to 1 gig. We are the 8th largest cable operator in the U.S., as I said before, for residential and business customers in 12 states. Those 12 states are listed there. And now we've added Ohio to that. We have 34 communities served in New Hampshire and Maine, and those are the communities listed there. We have 3,383 miles of plant. Again, that number has increased. 1,254 fiber optic miles, 115,265 homes passed. Again, all of those numbers have increased slightly. 100% are homes passed with access to 1 gig internet service. 224 employees, not including contractors. We do employ several contract partners that work with us on our installation. We have 3.7 million in employee benefits and 192,000 investment in employees. 30.3 million in capital expenditures, 4.1 million franchise fees, taxes, and rent. 75,000 support for community events and activities. 177,135 of courtesy cable internet services for communities and groups. With its parent company, Concord Atlantic Broadband has engaged in corporate social responsibility journey aimed at operating responsibly and sustainability and being a model of good corporate citizenship. The company seeks to integrate practices that improve the environmental and social impacts of our operation. Concord has been ranked 68th among the world's 100 most sustainable corporations. We take the environment very seriously. And we have a lot of green efforts with our trucks and other things to maintain that. This is our senior leadership team. In addition to the folks listed here, myself, Jeff, and Glenn. Jeff is Glenn's boss. He's the director of market expansion in this area, and my manager, Howard Dussault, is the manager of field operations. I'm not quite sure what I should read on this one. I think this just, yeah, I think it just kind of, everything that's listed here on the requirements that you have, I think this just reiterates that. And this is just things that are listed on the franchise applicant, so I guess that it would be kind of redundant of what you have listed on these 8 things here. But financially, technically, channels, the channel availability, no discrimination, service quality, code compliance, customer care, and policies. Financial strength, the capital investment to build the plan, activate, and deliver service is forecasted to be around $28 million, which will be sourced from operating capital generated by the existing corporation. No outside financial institute will be involved, nor will capital be secured by loans. Atlantic Broadband, a subsidiary of the $2 billion Cogeco Cable, Inc., is the 8th largest cable operator. How many times have I said 8th largest? I think everybody got that right. We are not utilizing any funding from any local institutions. All capital expenditures will be absorbed by Atlantic Broadband or Cogeco in the existing operations and business plan. Since Atlantic Broadband is a public company, we are unable to provide any forward-looking statements related to our financial position. Fiber to the home technology. That is what we are building here. It is the most advanced technology. It means that you have fiber directly to your home, to the resident or the business. There are no electronic gears in between that could cause unnecessary risk of failure or signal drop, or, I mean, it is the newest technology, and I'm sure you've heard about it before, but the fiber goes straight to the home, and again, there are no points of failure between that and the node that it services it. It's not only residents, but schools, libraries, hospitals, retailers, and other businesses in the area. Fiber offers not only high bandwidth and low latency, but also very high reliability. It's the most reliable technology out there. It's ideal for businesses and anchor institutions that depend on internet to operate. The fiber infrastructure is what allows businesses to be able to locate and expand in rural communities. Atlantic Broadband will deploy a passive optical network, PON for short, with fiber to the premise and user connectivity. PON is less reliant on electronic components and has fewer failure points. I mean, back in the day, you might, from the source to the home, you could have 5 or 6 electronic devices in there that could fail or cause a signal degradation at any point. It improves network reliability. It's very reliable, low outages. There's just not as many points of failure. And by delivering fiber to the premise, our potential product suite will include IPTV, which is super fast, symmetrical internet speeds, and cloud-based solutions for consumer and business applications with the promise to support new products and services for years to come. So we are bringing the best technology out there. Almost done here. The network resilience during COVID-19, just a little bit about that. Due to the significant investment in its infrastructure over many years, Atlantic Broadband's network has been resilient during the COVID-19 pandemic, even while usage surged due to work from home and remote learning. So, we saw our usage go up, but our network sustained and were reliable for folks. Our internet traffic from Atlantic Broadband customers increased increased approximately 25%, with some exceeding 30%. Netflix experienced bandwidth usage nearly 60% higher, with some evenings seeing peaks 80% higher. Video on demand usage increased by 50%. Network engineers actively monitor the traffic at the company's network operations center in New Hampshire and Pennsylvania to ensure ample capacity to meet the surge in demand and to maintain the highest level of network performance. So we're always looking at our capacity, we're always looking at our nodes, we're always looking at the number of modems, and proactively monitoring to see where we may need to add more bandwidth before it even becomes an issue. We do have a state-of-the-art network operations center, which is in Rochester, New Hampshire. Major investment in best-in-class network. We have many proactive tools and trained engineers to just catch things before they ever become issues. Fiber ring interconnectivity for efficiency and signal delivery, improved redundancy and reliability. So in our transport networks, we do have redundant paths, redundancy and diversity for seamless uptimes, which is kind of what I just said. We have an advanced product suite, symmetrical internet speeds, gigabit internet, we talked about that, managed Wi-Fi, powered by Plume, which is, how would you describe Plume? It's like an advanced Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi mesh over the house.
Yeah, so you basically have more features in your home, like if you have visitors come for the weekend and you want to give them a temporary password, if you want to restrict at dinner time, it'll shut off, things like that. We have the best-in-class TiVo video platform, so all of the DVR functions, and then the IPTV, as I said, is coming. We have business services up to 10 gig for businesses, so we are looking at 10 gig for the businesses in the area. Hosted voice, which is it's like we're replacing a lot of the antiquated school
Phone
phone
systems.
systems with our hosted voice product. Fiber services, dedicated internet access, and a 4 gig backup. Almost done. Atlantic Broadband will design, construct, and maintain a cable system that will be built for digital television standards with encrypted technology and will allocate a sufficient portion of its bandwidth to deliver two-way cable services. There will be over 300 channels in the proposed system. We focus on superior customer experience with first call resolution, simplified, clear, transparent pricing, superior reliability and product performance. We have a US-based customer and care and technical support. So all your calls are coming into somebody in our footprint. It's not going to go overseas. It's not going to go to somebody in California that doesn't have our service. Digitized self-care options give customers more control and added convenience. Virtual support and self-install options are available. And I believe, thank you very much.
Thank you. Would you please send a copy of that presentation to the clerk?
Of course, thank you.
Appreciate it. Questions?
So I just wanted to add also, if
Sorry.
I might, I'm sorry, that we have built, invested in the community in Concord. We have built what we call a hub site, so that you have nice fresh signal, kind of a weird way to put it, but it's right here in Concord. And, we also just want to comment again, and maybe Glenn can add a little color to the fiber to the home technology. It is a huge investment, and it is the best technology out there.
Glenn, did you want to add?
Like Nadine was saying, we went out and bought 10 gig opticals. So we're going to come out with a 1 gig symmetrical, but we have plenty of room to grow. Businesses will already be able to go up to the higher speeds, but we didn't come in and just say 1 gig and that's it. This is something that we've already thought ahead, so we have a lot of room to keep going for many years with new stuff.
Thank you. Anything else? Where's your hub that you built in Concord?
What street is
That is going to be on Sheep Davis.
It's not built yet.
across
It's
from,
in the process.
Yeah.
I think it's Michael's.
Yep.
Right there in the mall there. It's the
Yeah.
property right across there.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Councilor Keach.
Thank you. I have two questions. One's rhetorical. I assume this would potentially drive down prices for Comcast and the rest of the citizens of Concord. Is
Well,
that
I
your
mean,
expectation?
You can assume that any competition is going to, put you in a more competitive pricing, but, we're not really sure what Comcast prices are.
Right. And the second question is, and this might not be something you want to share, but it seems to me that traditional internet is going away. I mean, I'm sorry, traditional I'm not trying to say.
Video.
Video is going away, and it'll all be streamed eventually? Is that the direction the whole industry is going in?
Well, there are some people, believe it or not, that still like to, watch video the old-fashioned way. But yes, you're absolutely right. That's why internet speeds are so important, because when you're streaming, as you know, you've got to have a huge pipe. And we're doing a lot to make things available on demand. And IPTV, I guess, is more of watch it whenever. That is a pure streaming product, and that actually will be available here in November, well before this finishes.
Thank
Did
you.
that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Counselor Kennison?
Thank you. I think, talking with residents in the city, one of the primary concerns is cost to the consumer. And I know I've talked to people in Laconia, and there's an indication that your costs are significantly less than Comcast. And that's a primary concern for people, that we have some competition and can get those costs under reasonable control.
Counselor?
Thank you. During your presentation, you mentioned that the numbers have changed. When did those numbers change?
So I'm assuming you're talking about that we acquired a new property in Ohio with WOW. We actually bought that footprint of the WOW. WOW is another cable company. They're wide open west, and they're throughout the U.S., California, Colorado, Florida, and then they were in Ohio, Cleveland, and Columbus area, and we actually bought that part of their company. And they closed on September 10th. So we acquired all of their assets and their customers, and we're right now in the midst of merging the two networks and the two companies.
Thank you.
So we acquired 140,000 customers on that.
Counselor Mattson?
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you have any indication of, like, if this were to go forward, the amount of time it would take you to build the hub, and when you might be able to provide services, if that were to go forward?
If everything goes forward, because we're already in the poll process with Unitil and Consolidated. If the make-ready is done on time, I'm hoping to be able to start aerial construction in December. With certain areas, we can only build as we get the permits from the utilities, but in certain areas, we'd like to be able to start doing some installs February 8th and 22.
Okay. Could I have follow-ups? And would there be any jobs provided for people in Concord, or either as a result of your coming into the?
We are under such a labor shortage right now that we have so many jobs out there that, we're a company that does work from home.
Oh, so you are.
So if anybody's looking for a job, trust me, we've got plenty.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody can go to atlanticbb.com. We have a career page there that we have openings everywhere, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Counselor Credit.
Thank
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just a couple of questions. You mentioned that you're building a plant that's worth $20 million. Where is that being built? Is that the one on Chief Davis, or is it something else?
That's the whole infrastructure.
The whole infrastructure for the whole organization in your 12-state coverage?
No, that's here in Concord.
Oh, so it is 28 million whole infrastructure here in Concord with potential jobs, and we have jobs at our city website as well. And I just want to make sure I slide that in. I did like that Councilor Mattson asked about jobs, and you had said that there are 228 jobs in New Hampshire, or 224 in New Hampshire and Maine, but how many are actually in New Hampshire?
Well, I can tell you that we have offices big offices in Rochester and the Belmont area. Those are two of our major, and then just throughout the entire state. I mean, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I can tell you that with New Hampshire and Maine, the primary number is New Hampshire. I mean, we're just pretty much all over the state there. And we have technicians and customer care reps that are local, and the NOC. And
I'm sure you're aware that we thrive on property taxes, and so when people work from home, it doesn't help the property tax base of our business. commercial.
Well,
so
there's a
that's-
lot of jobs that aren't work from home either. You know,
Yeah.
we have technicians going in people's homes, and we have, you know, they have to be out there.
Yeah, essential workers still work from the office and stuff. It's the call centers and stuff like that, that because of COVID, where we could move them back out. I think everybody ran into that issue in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think really the infrastructure was the part that I was looking at, you know, the physical building that had potential for property tax income for the city.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Counselor Todd?
Thank you, Your Honor. Comcast currently operates a customer service center here in Concord. Is that something that you would envision opening if you got this contract?
Unfortunately, we don't have an answer for you. I know that is being discussed. So I'm not, you know, there's something about a regional office that I know has been kicked around, but I know that it has come up. So they're in we don't know the answer right now, but I know that they're discussing it.
Thank you.
Speaking of customer service, do you know, like, what your complaint ratio is? I mean, do you know, compared to other cable providers, the amount of complaint calls you receive or unhappy with service calls? Do you have any numbers on that?
I don't have the statistics, no. I mean, I know that we are one of the only that do only US-based call center agents, and we have them only in our footprint. So, like I said, I don't think the other, I don't know for sure, but I do think the others have like outsourcing to other countries, and I know I've run into that myself, but that's something that I can say Atlantic Broadband does not do. We've spent a lot of time and effort and restructured to make it more convenient with the artificial intelligence and some of the self-service options. I know that every day they're working on improving it.
Thank you. Councilor Fennessy.
Thank you. This is a follow-up question to the question that Councilor Todd asked. What is the closest physical location for customer service?
That would be Rochester.
Rochester? Mm-hmm. Okay. I know you're not sure whether there would be a new customer service center in Concord. Would you anticipate that there would be a new service center somewhere closer than Rochester if we were to approve this moving forward in Concord?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I know that it's being discussed, and it certainly will be something that the company will consider if it's a requirement. There are a lot of other options. There's a UPS option that we pay. They can just drop it off at any UPS store. So there are other options besides the front counter, as we call it.
Just one more follow-up. How many municipalities are serviced by the Rochester Service Center at this point?
How many, like, communities?
Yeah, how many communities in New Hampshire? Or does it also include communities in Maine?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know how many communities are serviced by the Rochester?
What do you mean by serviced, where a customer can go there? Anybody
Yeah.
can go there.
Okay. I guess my question is then, how many other service centers do you have between New Hampshire and Maine at this point?
None.
So it's just the Rochester location at this point?
Yep.
And that services all of New Hampshire and Maine?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Chapman.
Thank you, Mayor, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. As the Mayor Pro Tem outlined in her opening statements, we are required to consider 8 items that she outlined. And I'm wondering, you touched upon item number 1, which was financial ability to perform in your PowerPoint presentation. I'm wondering, are you going to be providing us with data to support the other 7 points, things such as adequacy of your facilities and equipment and signal quality, your channel capacity, what your anti-discrimination policies are, how you conform to state and federal regulations and laws, the competency of your staff and your rules and policy. It seems to me, as a city councilor who's charged to look at these things, this is information that I certainly need before I'm going to, vote yay in terms of your entering our community and doing business. Will we be receiving that information?
So I just to be clear, I think we did cover the financial ability, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think.
And I acknowledge that. It's
Okay.
the other 7
Okay.
points that I'm concerned about. And I don't expect you to speak to those right
No,
now,
no,
but
I
I
know.
certainly would appreciate some sort of written report that outlines how you tick off the boxes in all of those areas.
Yeah, I think a lot of the other things I went over spoke to the way that Atlantic Broadband handles, and, but I can certainly, look at providing more specific detail.
That would be
for sure.
great. Follow-up?
Yes.
Thank you. Shifting gears slightly, when you offer packages to your consumers, do you offer bundles or individual channel selection? I mean, so Comcast currently offers bundles of packages with very little flexibility. And so I guess what I'm asking is, do you offer similar packages, or do you offer more flexible choices in terms of channels out of the 300 that you provide?
Well, we do bundle, we do have packages, but we also have what we call, where we don't have a promo price. We give a low price, and it's not going to expire after 12 months or 6 months. I know that's frustrating. It was something that a campaign that we had about, I don't know, 6 to 8 months ago, where it's like, this is the price, and this is going to be the price. And it's a lot more flexible. I don't have the details in front of me, but I know that was a huge win for our customers, and not, putting them into packages that are going to expire.
Could you provide us with that information as well? That would be great. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilor Kennison?
Thank you. Can you assure us that you would provide coverage to the rural areas in Concord?
Yes.
The entire city?
Yes. I've been putting in poll apps. I don't think I've missed one street. I'm all the way up into Pennacook, working my way down to the furthest points that I can find. I don't think, if there's any area that you can think of, you want to, let us go look at, see if we missed it, but no, we're designing the whole city.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Nyan?
Thank you. I guess following up on the sentiments of Councilor Champlin, you had indicated that you have a Rochester Service Center which services Maine and New Hampshire. Will you be adding to your service center staff as you add a larger community like Concord with 45,000 plus people? And if that is indeed the case, what is your ratio? How many service center reps do you anticipate needing to hire to service the expansion? And does your existing facility have capacity to handle that expansion?
Well, it does, and I don't think I can really answer that until we know what the plan is. But we would certainly accommodate any customers that we would need to, whether it would be adding to a facility that already exists or, creating another one.
Thank you.
Councilor Kretovic?
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about the public access channels for the government use, educational use, et cetera, and how that operates? It says subscriber interest and cost. Does that mean you wouldn't provide it? How exactly does that come together for Atlantic Broadband?
You want to take it? You want me to? No, it would be the same as what you have now. And I know that, I'm not sure if this contract is asked for, franchise is asked for channels in HD, but it's been a popular request from some other communities, so we have offered that as well.
So it would be like a contract with our existing public access and then rebroadcasted through Atlantic Broadband?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you.
Further questions? Yes, City Manager.
Could you, thank you, Your Honor. Can you speak a little bit to maybe the existing agreements that you have with other folks in terms of connectivity to public buildings, schools, libraries, city buildings? Is that something you do part of the normal business work? You connect so that everybody has access to your service, or? Or is it simply, are they just treated as a customer?
Go ahead.
We do have, in the franchises in other cities and towns, through the franchise agreement, that we say will go to schools or their public buildings. One of the things is, whatever your franchise says with Comcast, I think you spoke about it, they have to be of equal with no burden or less burden on either one.
Right.
So if it's in your franchise now, it's going to be there. It's just how, and then we'll follow the guidelines.
Okay, so, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councilor Grady Sexton.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Approximately how long do you think it would take to essentially wire or to be able to provide access to all of those who are interested in the city?
You're probably looking at a year to build out the whole city, but it really goes on. If the poll applications and Unitil and the make-ready starts going real fast, then we can build faster. As you know, once you cross the river, the poles get very heavy with a lot of use on them. So make-ready is going to be slow once we get on this side of the river, but I will be working with Unitil and Consolidated constantly to try to keep the process going fast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Yes, Councilor Fennessy.
Thank you. Just a little bit of a follow-up on that. When would you anticipate starting to market the services? Would it be after the entire city is together, or would you do it sort of piecemeal as lines are ready?
As the line's ready, I mean, like I was stating, that we're hoping to start installs coming off of Sheep Davis. I'm going up Pembroke, and I'm coming back out around up Loudon and Portsmouth Road. So as we build those areas, we'll start targeting those areas as we go.
Yes.
And are you sharing poles? Is that what I'm to assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, we lease off of the two utility companies that own the poles.
Thank you.
Any further questions from council members? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and I think Mayor Boulay, would you like to stay? Yes, sir. So, I'm sorry, I misspoke. We closed, I didn't close the hearing, I want to open the hearing for public comment. Anyone from the public? Yes, sir.
So you guys
If we can switch, and the public will come up. Thank you very much for your presentation. Yes, sir, please.
I have to say first, I'm in shock that I am the only bona fide resident here tonight.
And we're happy you're here.
We are
Welcome.
happy you're here.
I cannot believe my eyes, especially since I sent out an email to everybody on my mailing list in Concord today. Anyway, at the website,
Sir, may I please, for the clerk, could you please, your name?
Dennis with one N, O'Connell. That's compared to them other 3 or 4 dudes that spell it with 2 N's. At the website, it states that there's a 20-some-odd fee for internet connection, and it mentions no additional fees. Comcast charges $30-some-odd in additional fees alone. It says broadband TV fee and regional sports fee. Is that fee going to be there for Atlantic also? Number one, what is the current basic cost of TV and internet? Ongoing cost, not the welcome, the intro cost, as compared. Comcast is about $65, $66 a month for the basic internet and TV cost. Then it goes, for devices and stuff and service fees. I'm paying close to $200 a month for just basic TV and basic internet. It's ridiculous. So I'm a fan of this competition that and hoping that it will result in a lowering of the cost of these services? Do we know what the basic ongoing cost is for internet service and TV from Atlantic? What are they charging their typical customer today? Not the newbies, not their special 6-month, 9-month offering.
I do not know, but for the purpose of this hearing, we don't have authority over the rates that Atlantic Broadband would charge for its services, so.
You can't ask these parties here?
You could look online, Atlantic Broadband's website, the pricing is there, it will be the same throughout the state.
Did Atlantic Broadband suggest you look online for the cost of their services?
Hopefully it gets approved. Where it goes from there, I don't know, but we do need competition. So is Comcast in the house?
I'm not aware, I don't know, maybe
Yes, they are.
they are, okay. So,
They are?
That's what we're being transmitted.
oh, yeah. Not in person, so thank you very much. So you're in favor of the competition?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, appreciate you coming out
And
tonight.
everybody on my mailing list was in favor of being offered the competition too, but they're not here to voice their opinion, so
Okay.
I'm in shock.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
So, Your Honor, if I
Yes.
just make a point, it's probably inappropriate, but to his point, I do think it is a problem that essentially this is a utility that's unregulated. So competition is a very good idea to, drive down the price and create a balanced playing field.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Sorry.
All right, is there anyone else from the public who would like to testify? Yes, sir.
We have microphones.
I got to be the other token representative here from the neighborhoods. My name is Rich Woodfin. I'm a resident of Concord. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm here just in interest more than anything. I'm very in favor of competition. I think price will be the main driver on what people want to switch to. I'd really like to hear more about the fiber optic options. I don't think they'll probably be right out of the gate fiber optic, but if anybody's familiar with what Nick Coates and the town of Bristol are doing with fiber optics, it's a game changer as far as economic development, new businesses coming into the town with unlimited speeds and free opportunities for really high-speed internet. So they're looping the Bristol and 26 towns in the area with fiber optics, and I would love to see some options for that downstream. I would have liked to seen Atlantic Broadband a little bit better prepared to check the list off that Councilor Champlin mentioned, because it was part of it, and I think every item on there we need to know the answer to, and they should be prepared to give you that answer. But other than that, I'm very much in favor of it, and I hope to see the competition. So,
Thank you
Okay,
for coming
thanks.
out tonight, appreciate it. Any other members from the public that would like to testify?
No.
Seeing none? Close the public testimony. Mayor Boulay, would you like to come up and close the meeting?
He looks
All right.
well rested.
So, the public, I have more to read from I was giving. The public hearing conclusion remarks. So, if there is no further testimony, that concludes tonight's public hearing. Please note that we will keep the record open for 14 days, in order to receive additional written public testimony and for Atlantic Broadband to provide any further information, so 14 days. Written testimony and comments may be submitted to the city clerk's office at 41 Green Street, City Hall, Concord, New Hampshire, 03301. And thank you all for attending tonight's public hearing, and we hope to see you at our regular city council meeting on October 12th, 2021. Thank you very much. Oh, so, Councilor Hennessy.
Thank you. I know you addressed a little bit of this in your opening remarks, but for the public, can you describe the process moving forward? I know we're going to be here on October 11th, and we'll make a preliminary determination, at which point the city manager will have the opportunity to negotiate with Atlantic Broadband. Is there another opportunity after those negotiations occur? For example, if the city manager negotiates a contract, will that come back to the city council for approval at that point?
Is your question if we give the city manager approval to negotiate a contract, will we then see it again?
Correct.
Okay. City manager.
Your Honor, could I have Mr. Kennedy come forward and talk about this? This is
process?
established federal process.
Welcome.
Welcome, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. Tonight represented the first step in your franchise renewal or franchise agreement process for Atlantic Broadband. They approached the city. We've gone through what's called the RSA 53C hearing to determine whether or not they're going to meet the 8 criteria for us to enter into negotiations for a franchise agreement. If you agree for the city manager and the city to proceed forward with those negotiations, we'll do that following the 12th meeting. We'll enter into those negotiations with Atlantic Broadband for however long that it takes. It's important, as Atlantic Broadband did state to you, that we do in fact have what's called an equal protection requirement built into RSA 53C that requires that we have to treat each of the public utilities or public entities, not utilities, but they are cable companies, the same. So what's required for one will be required for the other. And so we have the Comcast agreement. We'll be using that as a boilerplate with our negotiations going forward with Atlantic Broadband. And when that process is complete, it'll come back before the City Council for voting on to authorize the city manager to enter into the agreement.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes?
And if I remember, Mr. Kennedy, we do this every 10 years, so it's been a little bit, but I think it's 5 years since the Comcast one. We actually put the whole franchise agreement out for the City Council to see. And,
Absolutely.
And the entire community to see. So you'll see all, how many 85 pages of the document, or how long it is, for the public's review.
It is a comprehensive agreement for 10 years, and that's what we'd anticipate this to be.
Councilor Chaplin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. Just to follow up to Councilor Fennessy's point, there will be a public hearing when we do consider the final agreement. Thank you.
Further questions? Yes, Councilor Grady Sexton.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Am I correct on my understanding that we are to expect a report that will give us an overview of the 8 components that Councilor Chaplin raised earlier?
I believe that's what we heard from Atlantic Broadband, that you would be sending us more information about those 8 points that the councilor.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
I've been looking it over a little closer. There were things in the presentation that addressed, like probably too late to open this up, but just like the adequate and technically sound facilities. I mean, we went over our architecture, our facilities, signal. So, I'm happy to go give a more detailed answer, but I do feel like we did address at least given the history and the just architecture of the
Thank you, but you have the report and we don't. So once you do provide it to a city clerk, then we'll all have it and be able to review it. But I still think there probably would be more detailed questions coming from those 8 points they read off in the beginning. Okay, thank you. Yes, City Manager.
Well, everything we receive we'll provide to you as part of the agenda. So any comments from the public, You'll see everything. Because the whole idea is really just to collect all that information at this point. Jim, did you want to say anything about that when we get to the end?
When we get to the end, typically, there would not be a public hearing. This is the public hearing requirement. So it would be for council to vote it up or down after review.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Just one.
Yes.
With regards to the public sending comments, can they also email them to the city clerk or to their counselors so that we can pass forward? There was no email address on here, so I just wanted to make sure that we mentioned you can send by email.
I bet you can give that right now.
It's cityclerk@concordnh.gov, right?
It is, yes, cityclerk
Thank
at
you.
concordnh.gov.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else? No? Thank you, Counselor. Anything else? I think we're done, right?
Move to adjourn?
Move to adjourn by Counselor Chaplin. Who's second? Counselor Kennison. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Great. Thank you all for coming out tonight, for viewing, and for the public testimony. Appreciate it.
Great meeting, thanks.